for Kyrie. They
he's gonna.
fought the police department, the NYPD, all the way to the Supreme Court. They went all the way to the Supreme Court, and still didn't enforce that they had to be vaccinated. And 98% of the police force is right now. So, like, I don't know what logic they're using, but fellas, can we move on? Can we talk about a couple other things before? Again, it makes even our podcast uninteresting that we have to talk about this stupidity, and that there's even two minds about it. I just want to talk about this game a little bit. All right, it was close in the beginning. Like, am I wrong? But didn't I see James Harden this year on a night that KD took the night off, and we didn't expect to win? Didn't I see James Harden basically take this group of kids and win a game, or am I imagining that?
No, that happened.
Like,
No, it's been less than it was last year.
it's definitely been less, but for sure, Kevin Durant has carried us all year. But there's been a couple of nights that we all thought we were going to lose because it was going to only be Harden, and Harden would have carried us to at least one victory. Am I making that up, Sam?
No, not. I mean, no. You're not picking up. Oh,
I can't call the game, but it happened this year at least.
yeah.
Looking at this game, like, and I said it before the game. I wasn't issuing a challenge like some people thought I was. I was really looking at an angle to think that we could win the game, right? And I threw it out there in a shady way, but it definitely was me kind of saying, shit, I've seen Harden and these dudes and the rookies win a game when they shouldn't have won a game. I saw KD do it too. Kyrie, as great as he is, it doesn't seem like he's good at leading a team or making his other, like, he's a super number two. But when he has to be the lead guy, it looks like he can't generate wins. Sam, go first, and then Matt, follow up and let me know why you think that is.
Yeah, I mean, look, he throughout his entire career, this is what it's been like. I mean, he is as the alpha on a team that isn't when he doesn't have an incredibly talented support group around him. He's not that much of a floor raiser. He's a ceiling raiser. Like, Harden is the ultimate. Harden and maybe like Jokic are like the ultimate floor raisers. They just like and Harden when he's in shape. Like, they absolutely bring your team up to at least respectable and winnable levels where you could win any single game. Kyrie is the guy that helps you win a title, but that's what makes this KD absence so brutal, especially with Harden, is that, like, Kyrie with a bunch of role players can't do the game like we saw in Phoenix that Harden did. Like, Kyrie, that's not in Kyrie's bag.
Go ahead, Matt. Same question. Is this something that
he's right. I think Harden raises our floor where Kyrie raises the ceiling. Kyrie is the one that makes us unbeatable.
Right.
And what happened? What happened here? Why are we talking about this?
No, I mean, look, I'm wondering to myself, like, I'm watching this game today, and I'm wondering to myself, even if Harden was here, would we have won it? I think an engaged Harden helps us win that game. I don't know why we would thoroughly thrash. But I looked at the situation and said Kyrie should be looking at these moments and going, I need my brothers. Like, somehow he needs to just build that bridge back, because I don't know, man. It's like, did Harden not play today because he's trying to be traded, or was he really in the back getting treatment? Like, where do you guys stand on that? Like, it's just weird to even have a talk. Like, you can't even really talk about the game or how the kid did. But
maybe Harden is healthy, maybe he's not. but it's just like now we're left to guess about that.
Right.
And all that does is cause problems.
I do think it's an interesting question. Like I've been in the more, I guess, like, I don't know if you want to call it optimistic camp or whatever, but I maintain that I'm not convinced he's gone from the team by Thursday. Like I really don't. I think there's definitely a chance. I think there's definitely a likelihood of it, but like
Right.
I think this idea that it's a done deal, I don't know. I just don't see it. Like like Mark's literally a year ago did a deal that I'm sure he honestly, it kind of reminds me of when Donnie Walsh made the Melo trade and he included more than he wanted to. Mark's definitely made that trade last year knowing, like, holy shit, like now I'm all in and now I'm beyond all.
Right.
Like, and I think the idea that he's going to flip him now for like Simmons and whatever, when listen, I think the Nets have more leverage than what people think. But like, Philly still does have leverage here, and I don't even know if Simmons is a Marks guy for all we know. Like for all we know, like Marks may try to flip Simmons for a guy who he thinks works better with KD or Kyrie. I have no idea, but I don't know. Like, I just don't think this is a done deal, but. Especially in division, like that. I mean, have we ever seen that before? Like an in division?
I can't see the trade happening or the trade being real anymore. Like, just because of the stance they took, but I know something is real because, and this is gonna sound ridiculous. So KD claps back hilariously at Stephen A. with his mom. Which is beautiful for me. Like, that's my mom would have done that. So they clap back on whether or not his legacy will be remembered for leaving. Like, that's ridiculous. He's going to be remembered as a good player, but it's two things on that. Number one, for sure, Kevin Durant's legacy has been hurt by if this is the way it ends in Brooklyn, then Kevin Durant's legacy has been hurt.
Well, you know what? It makes him look dumb, but if anything, it makes him look more human because he's not the one that's complaining.
Right.
He's just trying to play hoops.
Right. And support his guys, which is what he's supposed to do. And, but at the same time, it's like, he has 2 rings. He has 2 Finals MVP. If you're James Harden and you're desperate, if this looks like a clown show, you're gonna try to bounce. And I think that's real because out of everything that KD did address, he didn't address the Harden thing. And it wasn't like he was saying who's lying about the Harden things or challenging the reporter who reported it. Like, this is a bunch of lies or there's a part of this that's real. Where do you think that part is for sure? Like, where does the line definitely cross, Sam?
Yeah, I think KD is just generally pissed off because I think it's kind of like you combine Kyrie. Man, I think you got to mute, by the way. I think you combine Kyrie like being out of it, coupled with Harden not being in shape, and KD's like, look, I came back from an Achilles tear and was just and had been nonstop awesome whenever I'm available. And meanwhile, I'm dealing with all of these sagas going on. So I think he knows that there is some truth to what Stephen A. is saying, but at the same time, it's obviously not over with. But he's like, yo, just like literally do the bare minimum. Like, he's like, all I'm literally asking for is my teammates to get a vaccine and to be in basketball shape. I'm not asking them to put up triple doubles. Like, just as Bill Belichick would say, just do your job.
I don't think Kevin is saying that. I think Kevin loves Kyrie enough and is hopeful enough to just go, I'm hoping. I think Kevin is like the other Kyrie stands, to be honest. But the thing about it is, I hope Kyrie is willing to pay him back for that love, support, and loyalty. He needs to do something. He needs to do something to support that and give him the championship, because If Kevin gets a championship for the Brooklyn Nets, he's a basketball god. If he gets 2, could you imagine them just buckling down and going, "Yo, we want 2," and they do a Miami. They get a Miami Heat 2. He's known forever. He's God forever, and I would hate for my own friend to rob me of that. Like, why is Kevin not mad, Bam? Why is Kevin cool with this shit? Like, how's that possible?
He's not. He's not. But this is his personality. He's not gonna make a huge stink. I think he knows. He's coming out looking good here. I think he also thinks I can convince these guys to suck it up. And I also think he thinks, even as long as the mandate goes, if I have these 2 guys, I'm fucking Kevin Durant.
Right.
I'll get it done. And I'll get another one done if they stay.
Right. I mean, that's the only way you could look at it if it's him, but I think it's wrong-headed. I think the people who say it's the regular season, none of this matters, aren't paying attention to the results. The results say only in the NBA's 75-year history or as the NBA, there's only been one NBA champion that has been a 6 seed. There has been 0 NBA champions that has been a 5th seed. There's been a few 4th seeds. But we're not in the 4th seed. We're literally in the play-in game, which you win the play-in games and you're basically the 8th seed. There's never been an NBA champion that's been an 8th seed. So you knowing those results, knowing those data points across this large sample size of 75 years of NBA playoffs, like how do you still agree with that? With that piece of information, Sam, tell me, where am I wrong in saying that the postseason matters a little bit?
I mean, like, what I think Nets fans have, like, this really funny short-term memory, which is, and me and the 3 of us have talked about this offline, but, like, what I know about this team is that even when KD and Kyrie and Harden were there, or 2 of them were there, whatever combination, they had trouble beating a Pacers G League team, a Spurs G League team twice. They lost to a Trailblazers G League team when at full strength. They lost to they blew a 25-point lead against the Clippers, who basically had no one playing. And so all I know is that this team not nearly as good as it thinks it is, in part because they haven't had any continuity. But this isn't like last year. This isn't like last year when, like, you know, a couple of one guy was there by himself and everything was still like hunky dory. Like this for whatever reason, whether the league got better, whether the pieces on our team don't fit as well, or the pieces themselves got worse. Like this team has issues. This team has not had. You know, I was talking to my dad about it, who's like a 50-year or however long year Nets fan, and he was like, "How many times have the Nets blown out anybody this year?" And it's like literally, like, I can't, like, the Bulls game, and it's like, and it's like that's basically it. You check any of these other elite teams, the Celtics, like, who are 7-1 in their last 8 games.
Our point differential is shit. Look at our point differential. Look at our point differential.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's like trash. It's not an NBA champion.
I also think that last year was the honeymoon phase, and there was this idea that, kind of like the Jets during the Rex Ryan years, we're just happy to be here. Now the real pressure is there, and if these reports are true, Harden's cracking, the front office is cracking. That didn't exist last year.
Sam, why do you say? I mean, Matt, why do you say the front office is cracking?
Would you trade James Harden? I wouldn't.
No.
So it would have been blasphemous to think about that in the summer.
But what if you know he wants to leave?
Why does he? So he's part of the people that are cracking.